Today we're going to be talking about a former Xbox developer who's recently shared their thoughts on cloud gaming, a potential ban on data caps in the United States, and a possible cancellation of a very recently released Ubisoft title. We'll be talking all of that in today's video, so let's get to it. Former Xbox developer Jerry Hook thinks that traditional consoles will be around for a bit longer, and doesn't think we're just there yet with the cloud. In case you haven't heard of the name before, Jerry Hook is one of the few who is responsible for helping launch Xbox Live and has most recently worked on Halo Infinite. Currently, he's the founder and CEO of Jar of Sparks, which happens to be a new first-party studio for NetEase Games. In a recent statement with IGN, he stated the following: "My brain says this isn't the last console generation. Even in my notes for the studio, it's like, okay, the next console generation should land about here, so let's at least plan for it. But yeah, I have a hard time saying that it would be the last one just because of the struggle my friends globally have with streaming. And if everything's going to be in the cloud, you can't have millisecond delays, especially for what I consider AAA like esports and competitive games. That just won't work, so you'll need something there." I can't say I disagree with Jerry Hook here. After all, it's important to note that he's not saying cloud gaming can't get there, it's just that it's not there yet. And that's absolutely true. There's a lot of ways to improve cloud gaming. Even between the services we have now, there are certain things that GeForce Now does better than Stadia, and vice versa. We're very much so in the infancy stages of cloud gaming, and there's a lot of room to improve on. I do believe we'll see one more console cycle, and I do think local hardware will continue to exist past consoles in the PC space. That's not to say that cloud gaming won't become more popular than local gaming, because I do see that happening eventually. It's just more so the fact that the enthusiast competitive gamer will be willing to pay to actually get the lowest latency possible. And that sort of market continues to exist in mediums that have already been overtaken by streaming, such as movies and music. Either way, let me know what you think. Do you think we'll see another console cycle after the current one, or do you think this is the last one before cloud gaming really takes off? Two senators have proposed a ban on data caps, blasting ISPs for predatory limits. In the United States, senators introduced the Uncap America Act, which would prohibit predatory data caps that force families to pay high costs for unnecessary fees to high-speed broadband. I would certainly describe this bill as a long shot. I highly doubt this individual one will pass, but I'm really glad it's being talked about. The more frequent these types of bills start to exist and this sort of discussion is there to be had, the sooner data caps will meet a demise. Data caps purely exist to make internet providers more money, and that's a proven fact because many countries exist without the need for them. I bring this topic up because it is a major roadblock for cloud gaming adoption, especially in a country like America, but the problems go way beyond cloud gaming. I just hope the introduction of this Uncap America Act can lead to more discussion being had on the topic and potentially removing data caps as a whole. The last bit of cloud gaming news today is a rumor, so wait until further confirmation, but it revolves around Ubisoft's brand new free-to-play title, Roller Champions. According to Jeff Grubb, who has a pretty solid track record, Ubisoft plans to cancel the game after Season 3. To me, this begs the question of whether or not we see Roller Champions arrive on Stadia at all. It was slated to be coming soon, and many were expecting it around Season 2. But if Ubisoft already has plans for cancellation on Season 3, I wonder if they even want to continue to invest on it. And genuinely, this sucks to hear. I do think Roller Champions had fairly solid gameplay, but it just lacked variety of content. I actually played it quite a bit the first week of launch to see how it was doing, and I can tell you right now from personal experience, even with crossplay enabled, it was taking well into 5 minutes to find a match. And when it eventually did, some of the players were actually bots, so I'm not too sure how healthy and active the player base even was around launch. This would also mark the second free-to-play venture that Ubisoft has recently made that was a failure. Hyperscape comes to mind, and that was a title I genuinely liked a lot. They seem to really be aiming at that market, but are having a hard time breaking through. Up next would probably be XDefiant and The Division Heartland, both of which I do have higher hopes for. XDefiant has been doing a lot of player testing and been listening to a lot of feedback, and The Division Heartland has been fairly close tested, but I've heard great things. The free-to-play live service market is a very profitable one, but it's not easy to break into, and sustaining a player base is also tough, even if you do make a great game. Obviously, this is all a rumor at this point in time, but I tend to believe Jeff Grubb. He seems to be right about a lot of leaks, and I wouldn't be too surprised based on my own experience that the game just isn't hitting the marks that Ubisoft wanted it to. Either way, that wraps up this Cloud Gaming News Day. If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful at all, be sure to hit that like button as it really does help the channel out, and if you're wanting more content like this, this, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell as well. Today's end of video message is just going to be asking for some feedback, both on the audio quality of this video, but also the topics that were discussed. It's more of a general cloud gaming news video with certain topics that I decided not to talk about earlier in the week, but I think were interesting enough to discuss and round up in this video. I would love to know whether or not these sorts of news topics matter to you and whether or not you'd like to see them covered in the future. Either way, thanks for watching the video, I hope you have a great day. This has been the Virtual Cloud, giving you the latest and greatest on everything cloud gaming related, and until next time, I'll catch you in the clouds.